What's up, everybody? It is Ranger back with another video. This time I am doing my review on Fantastic Four First Steps. This is a very late recording of this video. I'm actually recording this the day of when I meant to record it previously. But I meant to do an entire scripting of the video of what I wanted to talk about. Then I forgot to do the scripting, and a few days passed. So it's like, okay, let's just do a general review. I did kind of refresh myself on what I wanted to talk about by watching a new Rockstars video regarding their breakdown, so I can kind of remind myself of things that I might have forgotten. So that I wanted to do New Rockstars is definitely a good place to go if you guys want, especially like deep dives into certain movies, whether it's MCU related or any other superhero or just any other genre stuff. Absolutely recommend. So my overall review of this film is that I really enjoyed it. I feel like it does a good job at setting up certain things for the future, though I am curious of how they're going to connect, since obviously they are coming in Doomsday, but how they're going to get here and why they are in this position, I don't know how clear that's going to be leading up to this point. They obviously, their ship does appear in the end credit scene of the Thunderbolts, so we obviously already knew they were going to be here before the Doomsday trailer came out, but in terms of how and why they are around, we're not entirely sure as to right now. Maybe that'll be cleared up in an upcoming trailer. I don't know. I really love the family and dynamic, not only for the main four, but kind of everyone else in the city as well. You kind of get the family feel from every direction, including, I forget what the Silver Surfer's name was, but you kind of see it a bit with her, because you get a little bit of her background. You get a tiny portion of her background with the home that she left behind to become the Silver Surfer, in order to herald Galactus. But you get really fun dynamics with them, whether it's some serious stuff, or whether there's a bit of tension or funny moments, like some poking fun at each other. Johnny just ignoring the crap out of Ben, which is funny. You gotta have at least one person who wants to annoy everybody. Reed and Sue being a bit paranoid about their child, Franklin, before he's ever born. it mostly goes to Reed more than it does Sue until later on, but yeah, so that was funny to see. I do kind of wish we got more of Ben's dynamic with other people, because it felt like there should have been more when it came to Ben and his relationships with other people in his neighborhood and stuff. We saw him go to the neighborhood at least once or twice in the film, but I would have liked to see more of that type of stuff. I liked what they did with both practical effects and CGI, that they kind of edited it all in the way that you would kind of expect from the 50s era of filming that they were going for. So it's kind of like that futuristic 50s, like what their idea was of what it was going to be like in the future, with all the flying cars and different technologies. Not quite where we ended up, but that was the idea. I really liked that there were practical effects in certain things, like using miniatures for miniatures, which for those who are not aware of what that means, say like you wanted to make the rocket that they go into. They made the rocket at a much smaller scale than it actually is, and kept enough of the detail to where you can't really tell much that it's a smaller version. And they did something with the environment that made the environment look bigger than it actually is, even though it's just a regular size. Or in the case of Galactus, walking across that alley that we see in one of the early trailers, is that the scale model that they are using in that scene is actually the city, and the smallest things on there are at least 5 centimeters tall at minimum. And the way that it is shot, it just looks like a regular city build. And the actor who played Galactus and is walking through that city, he is the regular size that he is. I really like special effects, so I really enjoyed seeing that was being used. And the other thing that I really loved seeing in general was just all the science and space stuff, since that was something I grew up loving as a kid, and I still really love to this day, is that type of stuff. So I really liked seeing that the way that space travel worked. I liked seeing the early the beginner part where where the footage is filmed in a way that was more of the documentary and type filtering that you would have expected in that era. Like how at one point when they were in space, they're firing off something at one point, and because of how the space travel worked, instead of whether blasting heading straight toward it, it warped around. It warped around instead, because of just how it works. The space around them just completely bends in turn, instead of it just being continuously on. Also with the black hole, using the logic of something being stretched, when it gets closer and it starts to get to where it's being pulled in. One of the early stages is that it stretches out. And also the closer you are to the black hole, the faster time is moving back on Earth. So that logic is really cool to see. Okay, so that's pretty much all of my ramble. This was less of a review and more of a ramble. I hope anything I said made sense. But I promise my next review will actually make sense. I'll write notes as I watch the film, as I watch the next film, which like I said in the last video, will be my Descendants Wicked Wonderland review that I plan to put out on Thursday. So I will make sure to actually make notes as I'm watching the movie, so I'm not just rambling nonsense. But let me know what you guys' thoughts are. Again, sorry for the ramble. Sorry for the ramble. This was a very unorganized thing, and I will do better for my next one. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe with the big red button down below, as well as let me know of any of you guys' thoughts on the movie. If you've seen it, I should acknowledge this has been. I probably should have acknowledged from the beginning that this has actually been out for over a year, but I have finally watched it because I kept forgetting that it existed. My bad. But let me know. Let me know what you guys thought of the movie, as well as what your hopes are for the future regarding the Fantastic Four in the MCU or just the MCU in general. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!